Alright, and welcome back. After releasing, which was one of their best albums to date, Spectre Within, in 1986, they would unleash their third record. And definitely this album ends up getting either tied with Spectre Within, which we're talking about is Awaken the Guardian. It can be looked as one of the best, progressive metal albums. It can be looked as that, but since they are a part of US Power Metal Month, they still had some of their power metal, sound that was still presented on Spectre Within and not Unbroken. But you can tell that with most progressive bands, they tend to their writing tends to get more progressive with each album. Same thing with Fate's Warning here on Awaken the Guardian. This album is by far more progressive than you can tell that they really are kind of going to more lengths to try and make more ambition to really make themselves something that's bigger than themselves. And that's definitely evident within the first track on here, The Sorceress. This song is you can tell that they were definitely turning into more of a progressive band, but there's still some of that, real power metal sort of sound, that very epic sort of heavy sound that's still, rooted within it. Especially even, evident with Valley of the Dolls. Another really great track on here that has some heavy riffage as well, even along with the first track, Fate's, The Sorceress. Again, the one thing about progressive bands is the riff changes. Sometimes it just goes from a real melodic riff to sometimes maybe a soft one, but then break into something real heavy. That's definitely evident with progressive metal bands in general at times. Valley of the Dolls, same thing. Fata Morgana, another great one. Guardian. This is definitely where they really start to show even more of the progressive side as well. Kind of evident within Spectre Within. Still a good track. Prelude the Ruin kicks off side 2. Another great track as well. Giant's Lore. Another great track as well. Again, on this album there really isn't a whole lot of speed on here that was presented on Spectre Within. It's definitely more kind of pacing, more very upbeat in places and kind of that. But let's also get into the instrumental song on here, which is titled Time Long Past. Yes, reading on the back. This track is it's an instrumental, but it also serves as a intro to Exodus. You put these two songs together, and at times almost will feel like a short version of Epitaph. Even if you were to combine Guardian with this, it still would feel kind of like Epitaph in some ways. But while it's not nearly as good as Epitaph, yes, I'm going to come out and say it, it's not nearly, because to me, Epitaph was like a epic ending to a great album, like with the movie. It's where a climactic ending to a masterpiece film. And this sound kind of falls short on that a bit, but that's not to take anything away from this album. Still, Exodus is actually a good way to end the album, I will definitely say. I think this album is definitely a solid listen. But at times, it's not nearly as good as Spectre Within, but it still is a great album. And it's definitely worth every bit of listen. So with that, definitely a solid album from start to finish, in my opinion. But not nearly as, epic as Spectre Within. But this would end up being the last album for John Ark, and I know I kind of forgot that this was also the last time for one of the guitar players as well. Not Jim Matthews though. But he would leave this album, and it's due to the fact of not personal problems, but more within his job. and he definitely pointed that out in an interview, not the one with Painkiller from Forces of Steel, but more with another interview that I had read, and he definitely did, because of he only had he had the job down there, but he didn't want to pursue a music career full time, because of, I guess, they weren't getting a whole lot of money being paid to them or anything like that. It's a little kind of hard to really go into for that, but at times it's very understandable. So John Ark definitely left on very respectable ground. But he did at one point even kind of, to try out for Dream Theater. But he left that because of he wanted to pursue a family. So definitely pretty much an interesting story for that guy as well. But this album, it would serve pretty much as the last album for John Ark. Now, I know recently they were doing tours under the original Awaken the Guardian lineup, surprisingly. And I think even mostly like with part of Europe, and I think even also for even the US parts as well. So that's definitely pretty cool. So with that, a solid album, but of course we do need to get to the next one. So with that, I know you have heard Awaken the Guardian. What are your thoughts? And if you have any thoughts, post your comments down below. So until then, it's time to get to the next album, and you know which one that is. Later.